Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Carl Tart.
I'm Jackie's Neal.
And I'm Edgar Mopes here.
And we are the host of a new show called Culture Kings on How Stuff Works. We cover a whole range of topics on this show, but one of the things that we talk about the most is sports because we love them. Jackie's, what's the sports opinion you have?
The Cubs are the best team of all time.
That's ridiculous. Edgar?
Kevin Durant is the greatest player of all time.
Nonsense. My favorite basketball player is LeBron James. He's the king of the world, and we'll get into that on Culture Kings. Download it wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere. Just listen to it, damn it!
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
Here's Jalen versus everybody.
What up, dude?
I am David Dowling Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We give the people what they want.
They my little guy.
Welcome to Jalen Jacoby. Friday. Finally giving the people a full week of dope pods to step to. Big shout to Katie Nolan for subbing in for Jalen Rose on Wednesday.
Shout out.
Jalen, we have a little bit of breaking news in the National Basketball Association. Not that surprising. Steve Clifford is no longer the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Michael Jordan has brought in Mitch Kupchak, former Lakers general manager, now has a head coaching vacancy to fill. We've got a head coaching vacancy for the Orlando Magic, also one for the New York Knicks. Looking at all three of these jobs, what would you say the difference is between them and which to you is the most desirable?
And possibly Milwaukee Bucks. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Phoenix Suns.
Both interim coaches there, but most likely will not stay.
Potentially the Chicago Bulls.
Potentially the Detroit Pistons.
That won't happen. We have a great coach, I promise you. Here's the thing. It's what you expect from your fan base. A couple of those teams aren't necessarily expected to win the championship because, frankly, in the franchise's history, they have never done so. Mm-hmm. But what they hope to get is a quality product to put on the basketball court. So if you're looking for a face of the franchise type of coach, then you're going to hear collegiate names pop up into the fray. What's going to happen with Jay Wright? What's going to happen with Coach Cal? Maybe Bill Self may consider taking a job because they're a part of some allegations. Let me just tell everybody something.
What's that, Mr. Rose?
When you're a college coach, you're the hammer. You have all of the power. You're getting money from the school, you get money from the shoe company, you get money from television, from radio, for appearances, for speaking engagements. You could take a guy's scholarship in a heartbeat. You can also affect their trajectory if you say negative things about them in the media or to NBA teams. Mm-hmm. In the NBA, you're the nail. Every person on your roster pretty much makes more money than you. Ultimately, it's a player's game. And when you sign on, ultimately, you end up being fired. That's what happens for an NBA head coach. Versus a collegiate coach that can have the job, say, 20, 30 years like a Coach K.
Yep.
If the university loves what you're doing. So with that being said, let's just take that out of the fray. You can make the kind of money in collegiate basketball if you're one of those guys that you don't need to leave to the NBA. I don't anticipate none of those guys doing such. As it relates to what's more attractive, it's all about fit. So you have the Orlando Magic, who've changed coaches the last couple of years. To be honest, I don't know what they hope to get accomplished because they don't have a star player on their roster.
No.
So to me, the coach will have to come in and set the culture. For the Charlotte Hornets, the goal for me should be to find a way to keep Kemba Walker, continue to have Dwight Howard playing the way he's playing. You understand that Nicholas Batum's going to be on the roster because he signed a mega deal.
Yep.
Who can now take all three of those guys, use them to their strengths, and get role players to supplement what they're going to do, because Charlotte isn't a team that's just going to spend big money in free agency. Now, if you're the New York Knicks, You want somebody that can actually coach your basketball team, appease your fan base, also be able to deal with the scrutiny and the media that comes with New York City. And you do have an all-star player that has the potential to be an all-NBA player in Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I'm going to put on wax. When Porzingis got hurt late January, early February, he's not going to play next season. That's right, I said it. He's not going to play next season. It doesn't make any sense to put him in uniform and gym shoes next season because by the time he comes back, they'll already be lottery bound. So when you hire this coach, you understand it's a year or so process before you actually have to be successful. That's this year's draft. That's this year's offseason free agency. That's nurturing the roster next year. And then drafting again. And then you get Porzingis back after next offseason. If the New York Knicks need advice on who to hire, I actually have 2 numbers in my phone I want to give them because I would be shocked if one of them don't get this job. No particular order. One is Mark Jackson, who was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors while they drafted Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and ultimately became an NBA championship squad. Just so happened that he's from New York City, played at St. John's, and was Rookie of the Year for the New York Knickerbockers. David Fizdale, who's a longtime assistant at a few places, more notably later in his career with the Atlanta Hawks, as well as the Miami Heat, where he won multiple championships, where he helped nurture the careers of a couple of people you might have heard of, Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. Under a couple of people you probably have heard of, Eric Spoelstra and the ultimate puppet master, Pat Riley, who also has coaching experience with the Memphis Grizzlies. I remember watching Memphis play early in the year, and I was like, I don't know any of those guys they have in uniform. Yet they're 6-1, 8-1, and they had beaten the Golden State Warriors a couple of times even. So he's proven that he can do a terrific job. In my opinion, they did him a favor by letting him go when they did because Mike Conley never came back. They ended up tanking all year, and that would have been on his record and resume. And unlike Brett Brown, usually people aren't given that opportunity. And I have to say this because it's fact. A lot of times those people happen to be African American. Another subject for another day. So I think those guys will be perfect fits for what's happening in New York City. They're going to toss around other names and do their due diligence, but I think one of those guys end up with the gig.
I think it's going to be Mark Jackson. It should be Mark Jackson. He's a New York City native, and he is known as a Knickerbocker and, of course, a Pacer with you, Jalen Rose.
Hard to believe that baseball season is here. As fans, we demand a lot from our teams, and a new season means not only hope that our teams will do us proud, but a renewed drive and commitment by players and coaches to start strong and finish strong. Goodyear strives to make tires that do the same, to go further, faster, and longer. They're inspired by those who put in the work and effort needed to succeed. So if you demand superior performances from your team, why not do the same for your tires? When it comes to choosing tires, choose right at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
If the people wanted the NBA playoffs to begin, that is exactly what they get starting tomorrow with Jalen Rose and the Countdown crew on ABC and then ESPN all day long. In advance of these playoffs, everyone's been previewing the playoffs, and our guy, Zach Lowe, our man, our former Grantland comrade, had this to say on his Low Post podcast about the Warriors.
I was talking with several coaches and execs from teams in the West Morass from 3 to 8, 9. The fear factor for the Warriors without Curry does not exist. I mean, there are people who will say, I'd rather play the Warriors right now in the first round than the Thunder or the Jazz.
Wow. Jalen, I feel kind of like his guest. Wow. Here's what he is saying, that there are teams in the Western Conference that would rather play the Warriors than the Jazz or the Thunder. The Warriors are 4-6 in their last 10 games. They're obviously without Steph Curry. Is there a chance that we will not get the Rockets-Warriors Western Conference Finals that we are all looking forward to?
There isn't a chance. And for those teams 3 through 9, trust me, playing a lot of basketball in my life, sitting in the locker room, I can't count how many times I looked up at the scouting report and was like, Michael Jordan ain't got nothing on me. Scottie Pippen, who? Kobe Bryant, he can't stop me in the post. Like, number one, that's what they're supposed to think. Number two, when you're without Steph Curry, the dynamics of how the Golden State Warriors play changes. And it affects two people in particular. One, Draymond Green. When they're operating at optimal success, he's leading them in rebounds, but also another surprising category, assists. And here's how he's doing as a great passing big man. Usually they run a pick and roll with Steph. You have to double team Steph Curry because he has unlimited range. He throws it back to Draymond Green in the middle of the floor. Either he can shoot the three if he's behind the line or a mid-range shot, or he drives to the basket. He can then lob it over the top to JaVale McGee or Zaza Pachulia, or kick it to the left corner to Clay, or kick it to the right corner to whoever's standing over there perched and ready to shoot a three. Without Steph Curry in the lineup, now you're giving the ball to Kevin Durant, more on the elbow, more on the free throw line. And he's jab stepping, going one-on-one, doing what he does. So the dynamics of their team are different. They're easier to guard because they're not as spread out. So I agree with the sentiment that, yes, they're easy to play without Steph Curry in the lineup, and there may be teams more confident to play against them because of such, but that don't mean they'll beat them.
Let's say that both the Warriors and the Blazers take care of their first-round series, and there's a Blazers versus Steph Curry-less Warriors matchup. Would you pick the Warriors in that series?
I'm going to pick the team that has 3 All-Stars versus the team that has 1 in Dame Lillard. Though they do have C.J. McCollum, who along with Drew Holiday to me are 2 of the better players that haven't made an All-Star game just yet. They will find a way to figure it out, are the Golden State Warriors. And by the way, there is another level to this. And I think they will turn it up in this first round of the playoffs.
Well, you talk about turning it up in the first round of the playoffs, which brings us to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were ranked 29th in defensive efficiency. 29th. That's the second worst defensive team in the league. Talking about their approach to the playoffs, here's what Ty Lue had to say. He said, quote, "We'll probably do things we haven't done all season when it comes to the playoffs, things we've been working on all year." When he says they're going to do things in the playoffs that they haven't done all season, is he talking about playing defense, Jalen Rose?
Well, a couple of things. LeBron James is going to play a lot harder on that end of the floor, not worrying about preserving himself for the 82-game regular season, which I applaud the fact that he played every game. It's more matchup-centric. So when you go against a team like the Pacers, for example, in the first round, you probably switch a lot more pick and rolls, try to take away the three-point shot, because they did a great job of making those in the regular season, which is why they beat you 3 out of 4 games. Also, when there's post matchups, probably consider double teaming more, in particular Miles Turner. I don't know where the mental psyche of Tristan Thompson is going to be based on what he's dealing with in his personal life. So no telling how effective he's going to be. You brought in Kendrick Perkins, who's clearly an older player. Those are 2 things that I see that they may do a lot different. And obviously the energy level of LeBron James is going to be optimal because it's that time of year.
Can a team that had the second worst defense in the entire league flip the switch, as they say? We saw them do it last year. If you remember, they kind of limped into the playoffs, didn't look great, and then went on a streak of wins. Can they do that? Can they flip the switch in the playoffs?
You know, when you go and you get a checkup, usually they hit your knee and then you automatically just kick out your foot. And so there are going to be a lot of can-days for the Cleveland Cavaliers that I think they will be able to overcome. 1, win the East. Yes. 2, will they find a way as a 4th seed to continue to advance? Yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher, but I think when you have LeBron James, a guy that's won 10 straight division championships in the conference and 7 straight conference championships, based on that fact, I figure that they'll find a way to get it done.
Well, our guy, Adam Schefter, who I like to call Raekwon the Chef, but you hate that, he had a very interesting tweet today. Here's what he had to say. Quote, After arranging for Colin Kaepernick to work out for the Seahawks this week, Seattle postponed the trip when the quarterback declined to stop kneeling during the national anthem next season. League sources tell ESPN. Jalen, there's been a lot of discussion about this, whether he said he would kneel for the anthem or he said, I don't have a plan yet, I'm not sure. Regardless, the Seahawks have now not worked out Colin Kaepernick and signed backup quarterback Stephen Morris. When you heard about this, what was your initial reaction?
This is such a continued poor reflection of the NFL, who likes to call itself the shield. Here's why. There have been, since Colin Kaepernick basically was cut by the San Francisco 49ers, there are multiple quarterbacks that have gotten opportunities to play in that position as a backup, a third stringer, or whatever. Some of those guys have never taken a snap in the NFL. So for those that are blinded by the fact, it's clearly not about performance that he doesn't play in the NFL, number one. Number two, for the Seattle Seahawks, they've seem to rid themselves of outspoken players in their locker room this offseason. Richard Sherman as well as Michael Bennett. Obviously, when you look at their style of play, they have a mobile, all-pro caliber quarterback. You would think that he would be an ideal backup to Russell Wilson in that situation. So, but based on those dynamics, you shouldn't put it out there, number one, that you want to bring him in to work him out, unless he tells you that he's not going to protest during the national anthem. Because now you put him in a position to question, is football more important to me than what I've stood as somebody that has been out of the league the last couple of years, staying true to my values? And what he protested was police brutality and inequalities for people of color. We still see these things taking place in society. Of course. They're as prevalent as ever. It's hard to determine what you can and will do in the future, so you're almost asking him to compromise who he is. I appreciate the fact that he denied that opportunity.
Jalen Rose, we all knew there was a meeting today between Dez Bryant and the Cowboys, and if you read the writing on the wall, we knew the meeting wasn't just going to be a little, so how are things, how are the kids, what's going on? Well, we know what the results of that meeting are now. Dez Bryant is no longer a member of the Dallas Cowboys roster. He has been cut. He is a free agent in the NFL. He obviously has not performed up to the expectations that he sets himself and that football fans have for him for the last couple of years. What do you think is next for Dez Bryant?
Well, a couple of things. When you make it $16 million a year in the NFL and your possession receiver, who normally does a really good job of fighting for 50-50 balls, and your physicality is probably your favorite trait, and you're not playing with a quarterback in Dak Prescott that's able to get you the football, say like a Tony Romo was, that affects your productivity. And also, I think just the Dallas Cowboys understanding when you have Dak, you have Ezekiel, you're going to have to pay those guys. So that just doesn't add up fiscally. I do think that he has what it takes to still be an elite performer in the league based on what his strengths are. So I got a home for Dez. Damian Woody talked about this on Get Up, saying he'd love to see him with the Patriots. They had some turnover at the receiver position, including losing Brandon Cooks. But he's more of a speedster. I found a different home for him.
Where's that?
How about since Tom Brady's 41, I'll find a younger quarterback for you to play for, Dez, in the NFC. Why don't you go play with Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, that's bad for the Lions.
Have him throwing you the ball in the red zone.
That is not good for the Lions, Jalen Rose. You're going to put that out there, huh? Wow.
I'm not finished. So if you can't find a way to end up playing with Aaron Rodgers, hey, Dez, come to Detroit.
Detroit would love you, Dez.
You want a team that's going to pass 70% of the time, that's going to make sure you get the football in the red zone, that's going to keep you happy, that's going to have to make sure that you can go to barbecues and kick it. You can get back to the community
Come to
there.
JRLA. We'll get you a
Come
sweatshirt.
to Detroit.
We'll get you a JRLA sweatshirt.
No doubt about it.
Anytime you want to come to JRLA, we got we got a t-shirt for you, sweatshirt, windbreaker, whatever you need, Dez. Whatever you need. Come to Detroit. Jim Bob will get you the ball. Your career will be resurrected, and then you'll be in the Hall of Fame. That's all you need to do is come to the Detroit Lions.
Yes, indeed.
Sometimes it's hard to find a satisfying vape that's simple and convenient. Blue, who introduced vaping to the world, is now introducing MyBlue. MyBlue gives you all the satisfaction with none of the hassle. Just click and go. With MyBlue's easy-to-use one-click liquid pods, you can switch between flavors in seconds. There's a range of flavors to choose from, and it takes just 20 minutes to charge. For a limited time, Blue is letting you try their new MyBlue starter kit for just $1. But hurry, this won't last long. Terms and conditions apply. Go to myblue.com today to learn more.
Now, I promised that we would never talk about LeVar Ball again on this program, but here we are once again talking about the Ball family in Lithuania.
You have no choice.
There's a report from Lithuanian reporter, and I'm going to get his name right, Donatas Urbonas, and he is reporting that in the stands during the Ball family's latest game, there was a scout from the Los Angeles Lakers. Jalen Rose, did Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson put somebody on a plane to fly all the way to Lithuania to watch LiAngelo Ball play basketball, and why did they do this?
Well, number one, he has two brothers over there playing. They could have been looking at the youngest one as well. Mm-hmm. Also, the most important thing is, what level of scout was it? Was it the head scout?
Probably not.
Or was it Andre Ingram who going to have that job next year?
It's probably someone who just wanted the miles. You know what I mean? They're like, I'll take the miles. Sure, I'll fly Lithuania, whatever.
But you got to understand that just because they were over there watching the Ball brothers play, it doesn't mean they're going to draft them. It doesn't also mean that they weren't overseas checking out other prospects. When you're an NBA team, it's your job to do due diligence about everything. I'm pretty sure you can find scouts littered across the world over these next handful of months. I'm not mad at the fact that the Lakers are doing the exact same thing.
I am mad at the fact that we're talking about the Ball brothers again, so we will move on. The NHL playoffs are already here, and the Bruins and Maple Leaf series is off to a hot start. The Bruins, Brad Marchand, and the Maple Leafs, Leo Komarov, let me get his name right. Yep, there it is, Komarov. They have been going back and forth a lot, getting mixed up, and Marchand has made a habit of trying to kiss Leo when he does that. So Marchand has been kissing Leo when they get mixed up. Jalen Rose, soft move or boss move, kissing someone who wants to hurt you.
It's a boss move.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there.
It's definitely a boss move. Magic and Isaiah. This is late 80s playoff basketball. Best friends in the world. Yet once that game started, hard foul one way, flagrant foul the other way. So much so, this led to a level of tension amongst other things that caused them to fall out for decades afterwards. I was so happy and relieved to see them finally be in the same place at the same time, at peace, seeing eye to eye over the last couple of weeks. So I understand it. Even though it's an opponent, it's a boss move.
I think it's a boss move because it's so disarming. Like, you know how you get adrenaline, you're so mad at somebody, and you really just want to grab them and strangle them, and then all of a sudden you get a kiss on the cheek. I don't know I think it would make me twice as mad if someone I was upset with kissed me on the cheek, but no one did this better than the great, the legendary Diana Taurasi, the best kiss fight in the history of sports. Moving on, Jalen Rose, you've long talked about the secret society of the NBA. There's meetings that happen in the offseason, conventions, and I'm not talking about players, I'm not talking about referees or owners, I'm talking about the secret society of NBA moms. Jalen, this is something that you've told us about for a long time. And giving us another peer behind the curtain of the life of an NBA mom is James Harden when he said this to GQ. He said, quote, "My mom, she hangs out with like moms of other players that I don't even talk to. There are mom meetings, things like that. That makes me happy because they get to talk about their sons behind our backs. She deserves that." Jalen Rose, me and you are both self-proclaimed mama's boys. Tell us more about the secret society of NBA moms, the meetings, and how it all works.
I appreciate the way that you raised me and all the extra love that you gave me. Absolutely. And for a dynamic of NBA players, predominantly African American, many who come from single parent homes, this also furthers and strengthens the relationship of the NBA mothers, that fraternity of being able to relate to one another on the level that the rest of the world can't, dealing with the level of fame, criticism that their sons have to deal with. Also the responsibilities fiscally, personally, the obligations to not only be all you can be for those that you love, but for your public and for the fans. So who better to talk these things through than your peers? This is something that's been going on for a really long time. My mother, amongst others, was a part of it when they first started these meetings, first started having these gatherings, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
Can we do a live Jalen and Jacoby from the next NBA Moms meeting?
We should. No doubt about it.
I would love to.
They do them in
I would love
August.
nothing more than to be a part of the NBA Mom Society. However, I do not think I meet the qualifications. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. It's time for What We Learned.
You must learn.
We learned a lot this week. One thing we learned, it's been a busy week for Tristan Thompson. He started the week hosting a young lady at his Four Seasons hotel room. Who knows what happened behind those closed doors? It was filmed, posted by TMZ. There was also video of him getting very handsy with a couple of young ladies at a hookah bar in D.C. and lots of other rumors of infidelity. And now he welcomed a child in the world with one of the most famous people in the world, Khloe Kardashian. Jalen, how do you think Tristan will remember this week?
And also got booed by his home fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers when he checked into the basketball game as they head into the playoffs. Normally, when something outstanding happens in your life, like giving birth to a child, sometimes curses come along with it, the ones that you just described. I would say that probably what he was doing in the hotel room, just giving a little advice, giving a little guidance.
She was curious about the Cavs' defensive strategy for the playoffs. She wanted to know what Ty Lue was thinking and how they would defend the pick and roll. That's what she wanted to know. She was just looking for a little inside information about the NBA. I totally would have been there too. Moving on. We learned that soon the NBA will adopt the 1-16 playoff format. We all know it's going to happen, so Adam Silver, you might as well just do it now. If you look at what the playoff seeds would look like if it was 1-16, it looks like so much fun. Sixers, Spurs, first round Cavs, Pelicans, the Brow against the King. This is going to happen, Jalen. Why hasn't it happened yet? When do you expect them to actually make this change?
And you know the main thing that jumps out there to me is that Oklahoma City still will play against Utah.
Still playing Utah.
How fascinating is that?
Still playing Utah.
4 versus 5. That lets you know that it works. But also, and I appreciate all of the people that support our program, especially those that work in the media, that steal our takes and ride our wave and take our information like it's theirs. We love you too. I'm going to give you a couple of more things to chew on. Not only are they going to steal the 1-16 seeding, I think the league leaders should be total points, not averages.
I love that one.
I also believe because of Donovan Mitchell as well as Ben Simmons, the rookie of the year is going to be distinguished versus first-year players. And lastly, the sixth man of the year got to have a number of games started.
I like
that. You
start
25 games, you're not a sixth man anymore.
The other thing we learned, Lance Stevenson is ready to dominate the playoffs. Look out, LeBron. Lance is ready. Lance Stevenson, I am so happy that you will have the opportunity to shut down LeBron James in the playoffs in the first round. I am predicting that he will blow in LeBron James's face at least once during the series. Next, we learned Kevin Durant's going to be a free agent this summer. Kevin Durant's expected to opt out of his contract. Now everybody expects him to sign with the Warriors, but who knows? Who knows, man? Maybe Kevin Durant's squirrely. Maybe he's going to be a free agent, and someone's going to call his phone or send him a text or send him a tweet to his burner account, and he will join another team in the NBA. Is there any chance that happens, Jalen? Any chance at all?
There is a 0.1% chance that happens, but I'm going to give you a scenario. This is why sometimes in doing these deals, you're playing with fire. Imagine if a team can get Kevin Durant's ear and do a wink-wink deal with his management to say, we'll give you part ownership of the team.
Oh,
you
I love
have
that.
to consider that.
I love that.
Because these are the type of things I would be doing if I was in ownership.
I love that, Jalen Rose. And finally, last thing we learned, close your purse on windy days. Now, this one needs a little explanation. There's a young woman who was pulled over. I believe she was in Florida. And the police smelled marijuana in her car. So they went through her purse, and they found marijuana and cocaine inside of her purse. This young lady wasn't worried about it. She just politely, calmly explained to the officer that it was a very windy day, and the cocaine and the marijuana must have blown into her car window and then into her purse. And that is why it is there. Here's my thing. The police have no proof that is not the case. Jalen, will you be more careful on windy days moving forward?
I'm riding with you, and because you mentioned it, it's never what you know. It's what you can prove. I actually believe her because she did it so calmly.
I believe her too. Oftentimes on windy days, illegal drugs are just falling from the sky all over the place. You just have to. Sometimes I take an umbrella just to shield myself from the cocaine that falls from the sky on windy days. Don't forget, we have 2 live shows from New York City, the Gramercy Theater, April 30th and May 1st. We are coming to New York City. Jalen and Jacoby live. We will have special guests. We will have giveaways. There's a meet and greet opportunity. Come and get a picture with us for the gram. Come and hang out with us. Come get some T-shirts. We got free stuff. There'll be adult beverages.
Yeah.
The only way to get those tickets, and get those tickets as soon as you can, because they are already close to selling out, Jalen. They're already close to selling out, so go get those tickets now.
Can you let them know when and where we going to be again? I'm getting excited just hearing you say it. Can you say it again on Wax Theater
in New York City on April 30th and May 1st. Get the SeatGeek app on your phone. It's the only place you can buy the tickets. Go to SeatGeek.com, get the SeatGeek app on your phone. When you buy the tickets, use the promo code Jacoby, get $20 off, and join us in New York City. Because when I get away from my babies, I get crazy.
I had a few people hit me on Twitter and ask me a very important question.
What's that?
Is the staff going to be there?
I had a few people hit me from the control room and ask, are we going to be able to make the trip? One of which is Reggie. Reggie's been campaigning like this. Reggie's been campaigning like Donovan Mitchell campaigning for the Rookie of the Year award. Reggie wants to make the trip. He's like, who's going to push the sound buttons? You know? Who's gonna put in Russell Wilson saying that's cute, man?
I agree.
Cute. Russell Westbrook, I'm sorry.
That's cute, man.
I agree.
We need Reggie. Just for Jalen's waves, just to keep Jalen's waves going. Another thing that Reggie does is he listens to the voicemails. I don't think he listens to all of them, to be honest with you. I think he just listens to 3 or 4 of them and just picks them for the show. And then we play them on the show just like this.
What up, Joe? This is Henry from Norwalk. Shout out to Reg. Shout out to Harlan. All right, I've got 2 questions. 1, what would you rather be, a cool uncle or a funny uncle? And number 2, this is on a more serious note. So there's a school dance coming up, and there's a girl that I want to ask. How do you think I should approach this topic? Thanks. Just keep giving us a dope pod step 2. Bye.
Whew, Henry's got the dance coming up. He's got the dance coming up, and he wants to ask a girl. He didn't even say her name because he didn't want to get back to her. You know, because Henry's got a very distinct voice. There's not too many Henrys in Norwalk. So, Henry, we're gonna touch on the first and most important question in priority, and that is obviously this girl you want to ask at the school dance. Jalen, how should Henry approach this young lady?
Henry, first and foremost, you must be a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice smile on your face.
Okay, smile.
Have your head up.
Head up, chest out.
Have good posture.
Good posture.
No question about it. And do it where no one else can hear it but her.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Okay.
You do not want any echoes. You do not want any sideshows.
No.
You don't want anything to distract from the situation. That's number 1. Number 2, with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
The dance is going to be a great time. I'm planning on going, but it would not be the same if you didn't go with me.
Oh, I like
Would you consider being my date for the dance?
Oh, I like that. I think you should drop I'd be honored if you would come with me. And compliment. Drop a compliment in there too. Like, Jalen, I like what you did. I like how you made it sound like I'm going to have so much fun. I'm fun to hang out with. You kind of made it seem like you want to ride with me because it's going to be a fun ride. But also you have to add a little compliment for the young lady in there too. This is not about beauty either.
And also, not only do you give her a compliment, you have to have a gift. Find out something that she likes. Nothing outstanding. It doesn't have to be a major person. Find out something she likes. It could be an artist. Flowers. It could be chocolate. Find out something that she likes that not many people really knows that she likes, and then you give that to her as well.
Henry, if she says yes, call back to the show. Tell us what happened, and Jalen and I, or at least I, will record a special message to this young lady that you can play her on the way to the dance. I would be honored to do that for you, Henry, because you're my guy, Henry in Norwalk.
Shout out. And also, Henry, I don't know if you're on the gram or not, but if and when you guys go to the dance, and by the way, I have to tell you this, Henry. You clearly one of the cool kids because you listen to this program. Mm-hmm. If she says no, you'll find another date. So
Henry.
If and when you go to the dance, make sure you still send us a picture for your gram or your social media that we can represent you on our program.
Another reason why you don't want to ask her in front of other people too, because if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, then you don't feel funny going to, option 2, and option 2 doesn't know that she's actually option 2.
Correct. And you find out something about her that it was best off she's told you no. Exactly. And here's what I mean. If she tells other people and it gets back to you, then it's actually best that she told you no from the beginning. Now, let me ask you this. Let me answer your first question. First and foremost, as it relates to it being an uncle, because I am one, I would much rather be an option you didn't give, but I'm going to answer your question. It's best to be the rich uncle, first off. But if you can't be that one, you much rather be the funny uncle because cool wears off.
Oh, okay.
As you start to get older.
So, Jalen Rose, how many human beings on this planet consider you their uncle?
Well, when you come from a black family, I think half of the continent is related to me.
I think so, too. There's probably at least no less than 150 people that consider you their uncle. I got 3 in my house alone.
Man, please. 150? You mean 150,000? This is how we do. How many cousins do Joey have?
I can't even begin. To compute. I stopped asking how people are related in her family. I just stopped asking. Because the explanations sometimes are longer than the answer I was looking for. Oh, it's the best. Thank you so much for the call. Don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail just like this.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. What's up? It's Dave from Connecticut. I need you guys to help me settle a debate I'm having with my wife. I listen to the pod every day for the last 3 or 4 years on my way to work, and I just can't get enough. I was so excited when I heard you guys are doing a live show in New York later this month, and I desperately want to go. The only problem is that I don't have any friends who listen to your show. I listen to your show when I'm in my car by myself on my way to work. So I'm thinking about going to the live show solo. My wife says that's a terrible idea, and if I do that, I'll be a total weirdo. But I want to go. Soft move or boss move, going to the Jalen and Jacoby live show solo. Even though I do have friends, and I am not a weirdo. Shout out, Reg. Keep giving the people what they want.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate the love. Please let me take this one.
Dave.
Shout out.
As you start to get older, Dave, I'm pretty sure you've learned this because you obviously are cool and fly because you listen to this program. Yep. So you on top of all of the game with and or without us. The strength and the measure of an individual is to be able to hang out alone.
I prefer to
It's okay to go to dinner sometime. It's okay to go to the Jalen and Jacoby live show alone. And here's why. Number 1, it's cheaper. You don't have to pay for anybody else's food or drinks.
Nope.
Number 2, No witnesses. You don't have to worry about entertaining people.
Yeah. Show's
you don't have
over
to
at
worry
10:30.
about people judging you.
Your wife
what
doesn't know
you
the show's
eat,
over at
what you
10:30.
drink. And then lastly, no curfew. Jacoby just said it. You can come in as late as you want and blame it on us.
You can
and
definitely
you don't have
blame it on
nobody
us.
that she can call and confirm it with.
Dave, I will I will text you and you can blame me. Be like, look, I met Jacoby. He took me out afterwards. I couldn't say no because I love him the podcast. He took me to some place in deep Queens. They weren't speaking English. I don't know what happened. I'm just happy to be alive. I'll back up that story all day for you, Dave. I'll back up that story all day for you. Whatever lie you need to have supported, I got you, Dave. No problem. I prefer to be alone sometimes. Like, my wife was like, yesterday was my birthday. She's like, you can do whatever you want. And we went and had a little lunch. And I said, can you just drop, I'm going to go golfing by myself. She's like, if you want to be by yourself on your birthday? I was like, that is probably the happiest I could possibly be, is be all by myself golfing with my thoughts. And 4 Bud Lights. It was the best. I want to thank Dave.
I got to ask you a birthday question.
Okay, go ahead.
Over and under 10 beverages on your birthday that were adult.
Under, and let me tell you why. Because at the restaurant I went to, they give you margaritas the size of my head. You can't take down 10 of those. That's one thing that me and my friends...
you have 4 Bud Lights.
Yeah, that's true. I have 4 Bud Lights, 3 margaritas. I think I'd say under. I'm still under. I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I was in bed at 10. It was fun, though. I want to thank Dave and Henry for calling. I want to thank everyone who's already bought tickets for the live shows April 30th and May 1st at the Gramercy Theater. Their tickets are going fast, so make sure you get those through the SeatGeek app on SeatGeek.com. We'll be back next week with another full week of shows, giving you a dope pod to step to. Why are we coming back next week, Jalen?
We're not done. Got to give the people